Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. So we're here today with the Sims 4 speed build. This is probably the first Sims 4 speed build I have done in a very long time. I can't actually remember what the last one I did was, but I've not really played the Sims 4 in months, and I've definitely not built in the Sims 4 in months. The last time I was playing the Sims 4 was probably when I was doing like my sort of legacy family when Cottage Living came out, and I didn't use my own house for that at all. So like for my main gameplay I used one of the houses that came with Henford on Bagley, and then for the house they moved into after they were married, that was built by Aria Faye, and it's like a watermill house and it's really cool. So I highly recommend checking out Aria's builds because she is amazing. Though the house I'm doing today is like a retro house, it's kind of inspired by the 1950s. So recently I have been watching a lot of Sage Lillyman's videos, and she's not a Sims YouTuber, but I will also have her channel linked down below. And she just lives like a really sort of aesthetic vintage life, and she does sort of like day in the life of a 1950s housewife type things, and she's done, you know, a week as like a 1940s housewife, and she's planted like a victory garden and things, and I just think it's really cool. I mean, obviously like the 50s lifestyle in general is quite problematic, and it's important not to kind of glamorize the era too much, but I also feel like you can enjoy like the aesthetics of that time period without liking like the ideals of that time period. And I'm pretty sure she's mentioned that in some of her videos before. Like it is kind of important to, you know, distance the aesthetics from the horrible treatment of people in the 50s. So I definitely recommend checking her videos out, they're really cool. So this is kind of what I was wanting to go for today. I wanted to go for like a 50s house, and I found some house plans. It was called like Classic Americana or something, and I will try and insert a picture of the house plan I'm using here just so you can see it and kind of see what I'm going for. I normally really struggle with building, and I normally really struggle with floor plans, but this one wasn't too bad. I kind of feel like the outside of the house is a little bland and probably not what I would typically go for. Like I would never go for like a plain white house. It does have a nice pop of blue at the front, but then I didn't carry those shutters through to the back, which maybe I should have. You know, hindsight's 2020 and everything. But I do think it's turned out quite nice. I'm quite happy with the house. Although I say it's 50s inspired, I'm not sure how 50s it is, to be honest. I'm not super knowledgeable on that time period. I was looking at photos when I was building the house. Like I did go in with research, but again, I don't know how well it went. You'll also notice I skipped over the landscaping, and I'm pretty sure I cut out doing the back garden as well. This house isn't going to be on the gallery just because I did use CC in it, and it's also not functional. When I did the intro, I was gonna have like my female sim like bake a cake or something because that just screams 50s to me, but she couldn't cook, so you know, there's that. I do have a little victory garden at the back though. I got some plants from the gallery and then I just added them in. I feel like victory gardens were more popular in the 40s, so after World War II when rationing was a thing, people were encouraged to grow their own food just so they don't have to rely so heavily on like stuff they can get from a shop. But I kind of feel like if this was like an early 50s house, you know, they would still have that like mentality of like grow your own food. So I've just thrown that in. I also have a chicken coop in the back garden eventually, because I kind of feel they would have their own chickens, and Sage Lillyman has chickens, so you know, it kind of fits. So basically for the kitchen and bathroom, they are pink and blue. Or like the bathroom is pink and like light blue, the kitchen's more like pink and mint. And it's carpeted like throughout the house, there's rugs on carpet, there's clashing. It's honestly a really hideous house, but at the same time, I kind of love it. I love how bright and colourful it is, and I love that I'm using things I probably would never use. Like realistically, when would I ever build a bright blue bathroom? You know? I actually really like how the bathroom came out as well. I don't know if the bathroom's functional, I never tested it, but I think the bathroom turned out quite cool. It's really cluttered and it is such a small space, but it looks lived in. Like I wanted this to be like a family home. I wanted it to look like people actually lived here, and I think I managed to pull it off. Normally with bathrooms, I just throw in like the toilet, the tub and the sink and then call it a day. But I actually went all out on this house just because it is the first one I've done in ages and I really have been in the mood to build recently. I have like a list on my phone of like builds I think would be fun to do, and I haven't done them. Like I'm not a massive builder anyway. I am primarily a gameplay simmer. Like that is what I like the game for. Like I like to play it. So when it comes to building, if it's too in-depth, if it's going to be too complicated, I probably don't want to do it. But I just been bitten by the build bug. Will this be the only build for a while? Probably. But I had fun doing it. So with this being my first build in like the longest time, I am a little bit rusty, so it took me so long doing this. It's like the most simple house ever. It's like a 2-bed, 1-bath house. But here I was spending like 5 hours trying to pick the right kitchen cabinets. I actually think I cut out a whole bunch of choosing between the cabinets because it took me so long, because I couldn't figure out why some of my cabinets weren't matching and some of them were. But it turns out because the counters I used were not the used ones. I also accidentally brought up my reshade there and I couldn't figure out for ages how to get rid of it. It was just the home button. Like my fat fingers hit that instead. But yeah, here we have the right cabinets in, the ones that actually match my counters. So I did want the bright pink kitchen cabinets just because I felt that was the 50s. And we went for this like nice sort of mint colour in the Jungle Adventure fridge and stove. I did actually download some CC for the kitchen, but I don't actually think I used it. The microwave might be, but that might just be a colour swatch. I'm also not 100% sure if they would have had a microwave in the 50s, if I'm being completely honest. But I thought I downloaded a food processor, but I couldn't find it. And I know I also downloaded like a sort of decorative rotary phone, because like the Sims 3 store had this like really old school rotary phone, and obviously in the Sims 4 you can't get landline phones at all. But I downloaded this and then I couldn't find it in my game, so I don't have a phone in this house. But yeah, I also actually really like how the kitchen turned out. This is a CC table, because I did look for some sort of 50s CC before I started this build, but I couldn't find a lot of it. There was a lot of like 60s and 70s stuff I found, which I mean, to be honest, the house might be more like 60s or 70s, I'm not entirely sure. But I really liked that table and I thought it looked good in the kitchen. I thought it sort of tied everything together and it just kind of used up that empty space. So I did enjoy that. But I was thinking about how fun it would be to play a sort of, not a decades challenge as such, because I wouldn't really want to start in like the 1800s, but to do like a retro gameplay, like save thing. I thought that would maybe be fun, but then the more I was thinking about it, the more I was like, well, you can't really do that in The Sims 4. The way The Sims 4 works is you have to use your phone or computer for pretty much anything. You know, if you want a job, you can't go and like read the newspaper like you would in like The Sims 3 or The Sims 2. So though there is some really nice like retro CC for The Sims 4, I don't know if I'd ever want to use it like seriously in it. The dining room is another room in the house I'm pretty sure is like not functional, because the dining room is quite small. I maybe should have made it bigger and like made the porch smaller, but I was following the plan, like the floor plan, and I think I got the sizing slightly off. But I wanted the dining room to have like the end table and the bookcase, and I just wanted it to look full, like nice dark wood furniture. I also really like the pops of green in here. I think I've said it like multiple times before, but I'm not a fan of the colour green, really. So I don't typically use it a lot, or I overuse it and then say I hate it. But this time I actually quite like the dining room. 100% not my style or aesthetic, but I think it turned out quite cute and it does sort of fit the house well. The living room, I had some trouble filling the space in. I also had some trouble choosing the right fireplace, but I think I might have cut that out at the beginning because I wasn't really sure what was like a 50s fireplace. Like we have some quite nice ones, but obviously a lot of the things in the game is quite modern. Also, I'm not sure if they would have had TVs in the 50s, but a lot of like the pictures I was looking at did. Though I thought it was more like the 70s that TVs in your house became like a thing. I don't know if it was maybe different in America, but I mean I could just be, you know, completely making this up, but I didn't think they were a thing really in the 50s. You know, I thought they would have been like so expensive and only like certain households would have had them. But then at the same time, I did kind of think the little like TV with the aerial from Eco Lifestyle would have fit quite well. So I have just placed it on the mantle, and it is a nice small TV, so it kind of makes sense that it would be in a house. I also quite like how the fireplace area turned out. I think it's quite nice. And I've not used that rug from Paranormal before, so I quite enjoy that in here. Like, again, this is not the typical style I would ever build or like decorate at all, so it was quite nice doing it. And you know, if something didn't match, well, who cares? It's just a statement of that time. It doesn't need to match, it doesn't need to look good. It took me so long to pick a couch and armchair though. Like, I went through these colours about 1,000,000 times and I still couldn't find one. I was thinking of going for that kind of brown shade, but then it just looked a bit boring. Like, to me, like, sort of retro just means colourful, you know? Like, that's, if you think of like a retro house, you just think like a mismatch of colours and it's bright and it's fun. And I couldn't leave it at the brown swatch, so I did end up toning it down to like this cream, but I like it. I like it. There's actually quite a large living space in this house, so I did get to use a coffee table, which I don't normally do. And we have the nice big record player. I do have a downloadable record player, like a CC one, and it's just like a small single tile one that can like sit on a surface. But I thought with, you know, music and like the wireless and things being such a big part of that time period, you know, we need to have a big record player, because that's probably going to be like the main entertainment center of the living room. Like, you're not going to have the whole household like gathered around the TV, because there's maybe only going to be like a couple programs on, there's only going to be like a couple channels, whereas, you know, radio shows and things were so much more popular. So that was kind of my thinking behind everything. Yeah, I like how the house turned out. I kind of want to try and build like a 50s neighborhood, but I think that's probably going too far. And I think if I tried to build another house like this, they would all just end up the same. So, I mean, I probably will never do that, but I think it would be fun. I don't know, I think that kind of gameplay, that sort of like a 50s community save would be really fun. But again, I don't think I could do it in The Sims 4. I find The Sims 4 quite a limiting game, to be honest. Although it is the most current one in the Sims franchise, I feel like the way that EA have done certain things, it really does limit what I feel I can do with the game. Like, I feel like with The Sims 4, I can only really play with young adults, you know, there's not enough to kind of spice up other age groups. And yes, I am fully aware you can like download mods and things, but I'll be completely honest with you, downloading mods when the game is still getting actively patched is an absolute chore. So, no. I've downloaded mods a couple times, and then usually whenever I do, a couple days later the game patches, and I just don't have the patience to go and find all these mods again and see if they've been updated and then re-download them. So I probably won't fully get to play with mods until The Sims 4 finally dies. And, you know, honestly, I'm kind of hoping that day comes sooner rather than later. I mean, I know a lot of people say that, oh, I don't want The Sims 4 to end because I've spent so much money on it, But, you know, I kind of feel like it's time. You know, she's had a good run. She's probably not going to get any better. Let's just let her die in peace, and then we can use the amazing modders of the community just to fix the game once and for all. Although I say I'm kind of ready for The Sims 4 to end, I'm not ready for a Sims 5. And unpopular opinion, when The Sims 5 releases, I don't think I'm going to buy it at launch, because everything in The Sims 4 at launch has been horrible. So when the game, like the base game, came out, that was the most disappointed I have ever been. And like, I was in university when this came out, and you know, £60 then, I mean £60 now is a lot of money, I don't know what I'm saying, like I'm, you know, rolling in rolling in the dough, but like 60 quid's a lot of money. But I budgeted so I could get The Sims 4 on release, and it was just such a letdown. And you know, when expansion packs have released, you know, I've paid like 40 quid for them, and it's just been disappointing to say the least. You know, it's just been they're not worth full price. So with the way The Sims 4's gone, I don't think I would buy The Sims 5 at launch, just because I can see what they've done with this generation. I'm just like, no. You know, I'm not going to say I'm never going to buy The Sims 5, because I obviously will. But I don't think I could get it at launch. I would need to see how the game is. I would need to see actual people play it. Because I've seen a lot of like Sims 4 Let's Plays when the game launched, but they were by quite big simmers at the time, and I feel like they sugarcoat the game more than a standard player would. And I think if I saw maybe more standard reviews of the game, I might have changed my mind about buying it. Anyway, we're on to the master bedroom now. I've just kind of I didn't really talk about that at all. But the master bedroom, I downloaded the Atomic Bedroom set, which is based on Fallout 4. And I actually really like how it turned out. I think the master bedroom is quite cool. And both rooms have closets, but they're not functional. They were just on the floor plan, so I kind of wanted to add them in. I didn't really put too much time into the closets, and they're both the same for pretty much each room. I also have a kids room that I'm working on now, so this is the last room in the build. And this one I struggled with. At the start of this room, I was doing like grey walls, and then with how colourful the rest of the house was, it didn't fit. So I ended up going for this like fun little sort of plaid wallpaper. And then I have like a boy and a girl shading this room, and you know, we have toys, we have the lamps, we have a little desk space. And I like how this room turned out. To be honest, I like how the whole house turned out. Normally when I build, I usually say, oh, I hate this, or oh, I could have improved this. But nah, like honest review, this time I'm pretty happy with how the house turned out. I'm happy with it. I had a lot of fun building it. I like how the final look of the house. You know, I'm happy with it. I'm glad I did it. Will I be building in The Sims 4 again soon? Probably not. This will probably be me for a while. I do have a couple things planned for the festive season. I would quite like to do a couple builds, and that will probably be in The Sims 4. Just because, I don't know, it probably just will. The other games, I find I have more fun playing them than building in, but The Sims 4 is usually the opposite. I have more fun building than playing. So my festive builds will probably be in The Sims 4, but I'm not going to do a 12 Days of Simsmas again this year, just because I don't really have the time, and I used a lot of my festive ideas last year, but the series completely tanked. So I feel like I can't really rebuild everything, being like, hey guys, look at this again, hey, just in case you missed it. Oh, we're in the screenshots, oh my, okay. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you have enjoyed. Sorry I have been rambling for about 20 minutes, but I appreciate you being here anyway. Let me know what you think of the house. Let me know what you think of the 50s aesthetic. Did I manage to hit the nail on the head? Probably not, but we will see. So thank you for watching. I will see you all in the very next video. Bye!